during practice this week, how much did you guys emphasize getting Joshua comfortable early and often in the game after, a rough passing game first week in Pullman last week?
Yeah, it was definitely a big emphasis for us this week to get Joshua going. Wanted to get him in a rhythm early. We obviously opened up with the shot down the field, and he threw an interception. And the great part about that kid is that it didn't really matter. Right at the end of the day, it was one play, and he did not let one play define him. And I thought he did a phenomenal job the rest of the way. And again, that was definitely our emphasis this week, just trying to make him feel more comfortable with concepts he feels he's ran a lot and has a lot of experience and comfort with. And I think it paid off today for sure.
Your reaction to the penalties, it seemed like a very tightly officiated game. Just your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at some of them. I never want to put anything on the officials because, in my opinion, if you have better technique or you have right eyes, you probably don't have those penalties. And then we had some, after the play penalties again, and that's something that we've got to get cleaned up in a hurry. In a lot of ways, I believe my team overlooked this group. I think they saw a team that, maybe doesn't have as fast of players as we played a week ago or as big of players as we played a week ago. But as you know, in Division I college football, it doesn't matter what you did last week. So I think this was a great learning lesson for my club, and I'm glad that we were able to come out on the winning side while learning this lesson.
Win number one for you, how does it feel?
Honestly, I haven't even had time to think about it. It feels great, right? They don't say they don't count how, or I guess they don't ask how, they ask how many, and so we've got one, and I think it's a huge step in the right direction. You got to get one before two, and obviously you got to get two before three. So being able to pick up the first win is huge, just in the regards of it's the first one of hopefully many.
You talked last week about how great the fan support was, even on the road, even it's 8 miles away, but having those fans here, to have a Kibbie Dome with so many folks in the student section too, how did that feel to really take that in your first game?
Oh, it was awesome. This place is a very special place to play football, and I've been very aware of that since coming to games as a spectator. So to see that, student section rocking, see the band rolling, and obviously all of our supporters on the home side was very, very exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing even more people next week.
And of course, having a very different opponent than Washington State, but seeing the offense just get that much more productive and that much work on both sides. How do you feel that the maturity of the team, the growth of the team has changed in just week 1 and week 2?
I still don't think we're a very mature team. We need to. That's an area we got to improve in a hurry. We cannot get in personal battles, and I think that happened a couple times last week, and it happened a couple times this week. But to see the group really rally, stay together, and then obviously make a huge strides on offense was definitely encouraging. We're a group that really prides on ourselves on just being the best we can day by day, and we were good enough today, but we got to be a lot better tomorrow and moving forward.
Coach, you talked about last Saturday the penalties hurting you in Pullman, and then today, and wanting to clean it up. And then today, obviously, 13 for 104 looks
it's awful.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's not good.
I guess, what are you noticing between the lines? Because all camp, we saw your team. It's not an undisciplined football team. Is it a football IQ thing? Is it that immaturity? What are you seeing out there?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think we do have some young players that are playing in significant roles, and so this is the first time they're doing this. And so I think you do see a little bit of immaturity there. Now, some of the penalties, holding penalties, pass interference penalties, you hate those penalties. They're judgment calls, but those to me aren't stupid penalties. Those are guys playing really hard, and they not getting the call to go their way. But we've really got to limit the self-inflicted penalties, false starts, personal fouls, because those are things we can actually control. And I don't believe those are penalties that are caused from effort. Right? Those are things that we've got to really look intrinsically this week and see how we can do a better job to clean that stuff up.
From your vantage point, that play where Joshua broke out and ran 20 yards the opposite way and then threw across his body to Emerson, seeing him make a play like that, and then later the 59-yard run where no one touched him, having a player like that who can lead your team, I guess, how much does that open up your offense and what Coach Linehan can do with him when he makes plays like that?
Yeah, it's huge. Whenever you have a quarterback that can do it, throwing the ball and running the ball, I think it it causes the defense a lot of struggle, especially just preparing. You've got to have a bunch of calls to stop the pass. You got to have some calls to stop the quarterback from running. And then we've got 3 running backs that can, have 100 yards at any moment. So I definitely think having a guy that's as dynamic as him, both running and throwing, is going to help us all, all throughout the season the rest of the way.
Offensively, obviously a better performance today than last week. You guys are spreading the ball out a lot more. What do you think really unlocked the offense today?
I think it was a lot of just taking what they gave us. If they were going to play in soft zone coverage all day, we were going to throw speed outs all day. They never really adjusted to that, so I thought it was really the opportunity to get Josh in a rhythm, get him feeling comfortable. We call them layups, right? It's like a layup. We were trying to get him some layups early, and I really think that helped develop his confidence the rest of the way. And obviously you were able to see his arm strength to get the ball down the field too. So definitely something that we want to continue to do is just take what the defense gives us, but that's certainly what they gave us tonight.
What about the comments on the defense, their performance today, where St. Thomas was really kind of in the game for most of the quarters?
Yeah.
What do you think about the performance from the defense, and how do you think they could get better?
Well, there's a number of ways, but without looking at the tape, I couldn't tell you the specifics, but just in general, we've got to do a better job with our eyes. I thought there were times where guys were trying to make a play that really shouldn't be their play. They weren't maintaining gap integrity, and then all of a sudden the quarterback squirting out for a gain. Now, credit to St. Thomas. I thought they had a really good plan. They had, 12 and 13 personnel, creating extra gaps, and they definitely, posed some issues for us defensively. But I think overall we've just got to be more disciplined, and we just got to do our job.
Win number 1, how are you celebrating?
Honestly, I just want to go watch the film, but I know we'll enjoy it. It's the 24-hour rule either way. You got 24 hours to revel in a victory, defeat, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we still got 10 more regular season games that are guaranteed, and so we'll enjoy it tonight. We'll get after that tape tomorrow, and then we'll move on starting Monday.
Coach, coming into the season, Emerson was kind of a guy that you looked at to be a reliable returner in a receiving room where. Second straight year for Idaho where they're replacing 2 really talented receivers from the year prior. What was his performance here tonight?
It was huge. We know Emerson to be a guy that can be in that same mold of players. The great ones like Hayden Hatton and Jermaine Jackson, obviously Jordan Dwyer. We kind of saw what he's still doing for TCU the other night. And Mark Hamper was great for us as well. But I think Emerson's in that same mold. I think Tony Harsty's in that same mold of guys that can really perform at an all-conference level in this league. And then the big, I don't want to say big surprise, but the kind of small surprise was Ryan Giziaro, right? Ryan is a guy that's a redshirt freshman. We knew he was really talented, but he just hadn't had a lot of experience, and I think he's getting a ton of that over these first 2 weeks for sure.
So there's 5.5 minutes left in the game. You guys are about midfield, and Nate jumps for a false start. I'm just curious, during that, was that was that intentional?
No.
Get a little more spacing for the punt?
No. Not in any way, shape, or form. I don't know if we would have went for it, but on the 4th down play, you mean? Yeah, we were going to go for it. We're definitely going for it. That was not a planned thing. I know Nate is a great player, and my guess is he played well, but I know him, and that's all he's going to think about until tomorrow is that false start. So, but not planned or intentional at all.
Coach, we saw Emerson was out for most of the second half with ice on his shoulder. Eli missed some time tonight. How are you guys health-wise after this game?
Outside of Emerson, I think we're in pretty good shape. We'll see the severity of that shoulder injury, but I think he did a great job fighting through for as long as he could, but he just got to a point where it was just a little bit too tight. And really with Eli, it was more of a protection thing. He had suffered a injury last week, and he just got banged on it, and we just felt like it's game 2, right? And we have Art Williams and Nate Thomas, who are excellent backs as well. No reason to force feed our bell cow tonight in a game like today.
I was wondering if you could take us through the conversation at the end of the 3rd quarter, that long break. I was wondering what the conversation between you and Coach Linehan and Joshua were to take that shot first play of the 4th quarter and kind of start with shock and awe, maybe catch him sleeping a little bit.
And that was our thought process. We had ran the football and the beginning of the series, I think 6 times. And so we were just trying to kind of figure out a way to get a shot. How can we dial up a shot? And Coach Linehan's doing a heck of a job, and I think he did a really nice job picking the right one. And so credit to him. He's now in his second full game calling it, and I also think you're seeing the maturation process of Coach Linehan as well. He I think called it a lot more loose today, and that's kind of what I told him. I said, hey, man, all those plays on the call sheet are great, man. You just get the rhythm, and I felt like he really found the rhythm tonight.
Any more questions?
Thanks, Coach.
Awesome. You guys are the best. V's up.